Hi, you guys want to see a project that I've been working on slowly? It's pretty much set for the winter time, but this is a 1993 Jeep ZJ. It's a Grand Cherokee, but this is the Grand Wagoneer edition, only from 1993. And as you can see, Chrysler in their infinite wisdom decided to take a ZJ, slap some wood grain on it, and overcharge for the fucking thing. I think the MSRP on this is like $29,995. And as you can see, I mean, it does need some work, more than what you can see here too, but it's mostly nickel and dime shit. I do have the original grill, and I've also got another grill that's going to be painted for this one here, but I've got to take this entire header panel off and fix, right here, there's the transmission cooler and it leaks, so I got to fix that. I got to fix the gasket under the intake, and the valve covers also leak. On this side here, you can see, you know, the trim was originally wood grain as well, but the wood grain came completely off, so it was just like a beige looking shit color. So I went through and I did powder coat it, and I'm not sure how well you can see the finish on here, but it's a finish called Black Diamond. It's just like a matte black with a slight texture on it. And the wood grain, the vinyl on it, is actually in really good shape. And on the back, I do have the back bumper cover, but I did have to replace the back bumper bar, and that was from a 94. I couldn't find a 93, and I've got to get I believe it's a 1/2-inch spacer between that and the bumper mount, so that I can put the bumper cover back on, because that one sits in a 1/2 inch too far. You see there's a dent right here that's got to be taken out. And this is what the trim that was wood grained at one time looks like now. You can see I didn't get all the trim done on this side. And you can see some of the wood grain still left on it here, but the rest of it is just turned to this. So you can see I started on this side here. And I just got to finish this up now that it's getting nice out again. I can take these off and get them finished up. The mirror was replaced at one point, and obviously you can tell it's broken again. These springs in here rust and break, and that's basically what causes this. So I do have another mirror, an original heated mirror. It's from a 95, but it's the same, and I just got to get it painted to match because it's green right now, and then I can get that heated mirror replaced on it. And you see down here on the bottom of the door, this is really about the only rust on this thing, and you know, I sprayed something on it to try to keep it from rusting away, you know, to nothing. But I think there's probably no drains in the bottom of this door causing that. So I do got to get this part here patched. That's about the only thing that needs to be patched on here. And if we look underneath, you can see, I mean, this thing is clean. The entire underneath looks like this. I mean, there's really nothing rusted. So yeah, this is a nice little project. This Jeep actually was my brother's for a long time, and then when he died, it sat in my parents' yard. Obviously got to replace these fog lights too, but it sat in my parents' yard for a few years, and they asked me one day, "Hey, do you want to come get this?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll come get it." Now you see the cowls off here. The wiper transmission is a big hunk of plastic, and of course in the cold, with snow on the wipers, it broke. And Dorman does make a replacement for it. It's all metal, so I'm going to just pick that up. It's like 179 bucks, but it'll never break again. And then I can get this all put back together, so I have wipers. Take a look at the interior here quick. This driver's side window, when you start to put it down, it comes off the track and falls inside the door, so that needs to be fixed. If you look at the odometer here, you can see that's original miles, 122,000. Not bad for 1993. The dash pad's in good shape. The seats are in decent shape for the year as well. All leather. If you look on the back seat right there, something spilled on it and rotted that, so that right there needs to be fixed. But as you see, I've got, you know, crap just sitting in here now. The carpets are not too bad, but I'll probably replace the carpets and the headliner. This has the all-wheel drive transfer case in it, and the front pinion is busted in it. So that's the only really major thing that this thing needs. I got to get a new ring and pinion for the front, and I'll probably replace this with a selectable four-wheel drive transfer case, because, you know, I don't even know if this one works or not, but, you know, that's something we'll find out later. The radio in this thing has got a mind of its own. Sometimes, you know, if I turn it on right now, it won't go on, but if I'm driving around, sometimes you'll hear the antenna motor kick on. The antenna will raise up, the radio will come on for about 5 minutes, and then shut off again, and then you never know when it's going to come on next. We've got the overhead display here, the interior lights, and this is the control for the display here, which it does show temperature and I think direction, all that good stuff. This console's just got to have to come apart and get cleaned. And you can see there's a hole in the headliner and a bunch of little holes back there, so headliner needs to be replaced. You also got the driver information center right here, which it did work until this ended up with a short in it, and the short was actually the under hood light bulb. In a socket there was the dielectric grease, but it had like all kinds of grunge and dirt in there, and it actually shorted out, blew a bunch of fuses, and it took out this driver information center. So I do have another one to replace it with, also from a 95, which is the same thing. So we'll replace it. And you can see here's the you got your overdrive on-off selector, your rear defroster, and your rear wiper controls are right there. And I think when the radio does come on, only one speaker works, and I'm not sure which one it is. This actually has 6 speakers in it, and I think only one of them works, if I recall. But yeah, so this is gonna be a project that I'll be starting as soon as it gets, you know, warmer on a steadier basis. I'm gonna start working on all the little things, getting them done here, and hopefully this thing will be roadworthy soon. And this is the spare motor that I have for it. This came out of 95 also. And I pulled the intake and the valve covers off, and they're actually going to be going on that motor there, so that way I can have them all done, ready to go, and all I got to do is just take the old parts off there and throw the new ones on. And this one had about 160,000 miles on it, and it's actually cleaner inside than I thought it was. So this one I'm just going to stash aside for now. You know, there's parts on here that I can scarf off, but if anything ever happens to that motor, I'll have a rebuildable one right here. And here, this is the bottom of the intake, and you can see, I'm sure the one out there looks just as bad. You can see all the oil that gets sucked up in there, and you see how the gasket, you know, it's got this thin gasket on there, on this big aluminum intake with a steel plate on the bottom. And what I think happens is, because, you know, your aluminum is like a giant heat sink, so it's not going to really you know, get all that hot, but the steel right here I think expands a lot more when it gets hot, and in between, you can see the oil in between the bolt holes there, I think. And you know, if you see the way the gasket's lifted there, imagine it was tight on the bolt hole but lifted a little bit in between them. I think that's what happens with the steel. When it expands, it has nowhere to go, because, you know, the bolt holes hold that part down, so in between the bolt holes lifts a little bit. And because this thing is always under vacuum when it's running, to suck, you know, because it sucks air in through the throttle body, I think when you've got oil splashing around underneath, what it's doing is it's just going to start sucking in oil, and then you get the mess that you see here. There's a lot of oil in here, and you can see it puddled up, you know, on the bottom of that plate there. So that's the same thing that's going on out there. So this is going to get all, you know, cleaned up, disassembled, cleaned up, powder coated. And when I'm ready to replace it on that one out there, all I got to do is take that one off and throw this one on. And the same thing with the valve covers. They're just going to get powder coated and new gasket, and I'll just swap those over as well. So I just want to give you guys a quick preview of another project that I got coming up that I'll be working on. That's, you know, auto related, not computer related. So anyways, you know, I hope you guys are getting your own projects done, you know, in this quarantine, lockdown, whatever situation that you're in. But you guys, you know, the main thing is you guys all stay safe, and we'll see you on the next one.